Hello, welcome back after that short little pause. So now we'll move on to our next speaker, uh, and this will be just a quick reminder actually before we start. That you can all ask questions in the chat, or you can ask questions in the Ask the ShinyConf speakers channel in the Shiny for All workspace on Slack, and then we'll ask any of those questions at the end if we can. So for our next talk, I'm very pleased to introduce Gareth. He's a Shiny software engineer at Posit. He has authored a number of packages, one of which I'm a personal fan of, being the Reg Explain package. And today he'll be talking about creating modern Shiny dashboards using bslib. And so without further ado, take it away, Gareth.
Well, thank you, David. And it's a pleasure to be here at ShinyConf. Thank you, everyone. And so, yeah, I'm going to talk today about modern dashboards with bslib. And hello, my name is Garrick. I'm a recent addition. I'm new here-ish to the Shiny team. I joined in 2023. And for most of the last year, I've been working with Carson Sievert on the bslib package. So if you haven't heard of bslib before, it's a little package that pairs nicely with Shiny. It started its life as a way to get newer versions of Bootstrap, and in particular, to be able to theme your Shiny apps. And over the last 2 years-ish, it has grown considerably beyond that. If you're really interested in the theming, we have a website online for the bslib package, and you can get started there. This is the webpage, rstudio.github.io/bslib. And I highly recommend taking a look at this website because we spent a lot of time working on the docs. But about a year ago, at the last ShinyConf, whenever that happened, maybe a year or 7 years ago, Carson kind of gave a preview of the things that we were working on. And then in a talk called Towards the Next Generation, there was a reprise of this talk where it was more of like a big reveal at PositConf this last year. And he did a really good job of summarizing the work that we've been doing, in particular, like really looking at some of the components and the philosophical things that like the design behind bslib and the components, and how bslib is growing beyond just theming to include the rest of Shiny UI. So these are great talks, and I highly recommend you go check them out. You can find them on YouTube. And I spent a lot of time watching these talks before prepping for my talk to make sure that kind of don't overlap too much. And he just does a really good job. And so I spent a lot of time thinking like, whoa, dashboards, like Shiny dashboards, dashboards, modern dashboards. And I did that thing where like you say the word dashboard too many times and it starts to not really make sense anymore. What is a dashboard? So I looked up in the dictionary, and the dictionary says that, I'm kidding. I did not look it up in the dictionary. I went to an AI and I said, hey, can you show me a picture of a dashboard that was made by humans? And the robot thought about it for a little bit and came back with this picture. And yeah, this is basically what dashboards look like in my head before I actually make them. There's probably a little bit too many pie charts for my liking, but yeah, I don't know. This seems kind of like a dashboard. It's got the right idea, but I'm still, what is a dashboard? And looking at this image and the other ones that DALL-E generated for me, I started thinking about how Shiny devs see the world, kind of like this. This is is it a bird meme? But Shiny devs are asking, is this a dashboard? So I thought it'd be fun for us to play a little game of, is this a dashboard? What is it that makes it an app a dashboard? And so as you look at these next images, I want you to think about it, maybe even put it in the chats. What you think, whether or not you think this is the thing we're looking at is a dashboard. Okay, so we're going to start off with something really easy. Is this a dashboard? Everybody here should be just singing out, yes, this is a dashboard. This is a Shiny dashboard. Which brings me to my first minor point of the talk, which is it's only a dashboard if it's from the Shiny dashboard package. Otherwise, it's a sparkling dashboard. Okay, let's do something a little bit harder. Is this a dashboard? Okay, I mean, this isn't that hard. It has the word dashboard in it. It's a picture of a phone with an app that is kind of a dashboard. right? There's some data. There's obviously some data behind this. There's like a chart. There's some cards. There's some numbers. Yeah, so I think we can all say this is dashboard. And now you're thinking, Garrick, this is really easy. Can you give me a hard one? And okay, I can do that. Here's a hard one. Is this a dashboard? Okay, I'm gonna let you sit with your first reaction, which was probably no, but hang on. It's an Excel, right? It's an Excel sheet. But this is kind of a dashboard. There's data here, there's colors, there's summary of information. People are probably using this to make decisions. So this is probably a dashboard. Okay, let's do a really hard one. This is a cool project that I really like. It's called Dear Data, and two information designers, one in New York and one in London, sent each other postcards, and they would do little drawings of data that they had collected, and they sent each other postcards. Is this a dashboard? My answer here is no. These are really pretty. These are beautiful visualizations, but it's not a dashboard. And I think it kind of reveals one of the key aspects of a dashboard, that we're involving data, but someone has to be using this to make a decision. This is just sharing bits of life, but no one's actually making decisions from these postcards, right? So I went back to ChatGPT and I asked it, how would a LinkedIn influencer define a dashboard? And for the first time in a long time, I actually agree with the first answer it gave me, which was that a dashboard is a powerful tool for facilitating data-driven decision-making and enhancing business performance by visualizing key metrics in a user-friendly and accessible format. So really, data-driven decision-making, visualizing metrics, user-friendly and accessible. I think these are all key components of what make a dashboard a dashboard. How do you make a dashboard, though? So I'll give you, here it is, how to make a dashboard in 3 easy steps. Step number 1, find, clean, assemble, explore, go back and find more data, clean it, assemble, re-clean it, realize you're wrong. Just basically amass a pile of data, number 1. Number 2, summarize and present that data. Make plots, charts, graphs, tables, anything, right? Summarize it and present it. And then share that with your friends. Okay. Does this feel right to you? I don't think this is the right way to make a dashboard. This is how all of us at some point, we all kind of make dashboards in this way, because we're data people, and the data part is actually kind of fun. But this isn't a great way to actually make a dashboard. So let's flip it around and think about the end user first. So how can we actually make a dashboard in 3 easy steps? The first step is to find someone with a question. They have a question. You have data skills, superpowers. So you can go do the thing where you assemble, clean, pull together data sources and make them less messy and do all of that work that are kind of hard. And then you can share your data powers in the form of an app where you kind of encapsulate your skills with data and your ability to move through the data quickly into an app that other people can use. Okay, so I actually kind of went through this process in thinking about how to show you the cool new things that are in bslib. And I initially started by like, I just want to make the coolest dashboard that anyone has ever seen. And I started looking for data, and I got mired in piles of data until I remembered that a long time ago, I used to own a Jeep, and it looked a lot like this one. I mean, no. Sorry. It looked a lot like this one, but it was similar, right? Here's a Jeep. The thing about owning a Jeep is that, especially if you have this kind where you can take the top off, it's actually really fun to take the top off and drive around. But if you're going to do that, it takes a bit of time, and you want to know before you take the top off that, you don't have to put it back on like in the next day or two. And there's my question. How could I, like right now here, it seems like it's a sunny day. How would I find out if it's going to be, a good day for me to take the top off my Jeep? Well, I pulled together a bunch of weather data, and I figured out how to like interface with some APIs, and I found some city something or other, and I learned about geocoding and a bunch of other things until eventually I had a pile of data, and I made this dashboard, which we all recognize as a dashboard. And this is pretty helpful. Like I could pull this up and be like, oh, okay, like I see that first row actually, by the way, is like the worst weather that's going to happen in the next 3 days. So I know, like, I could read this, and after a while I could kind of figure out like, hey, this is, there are thunderstorms. I shouldn't do this. Okay. So this is a Shiny dashboard. Let's see what a dashboard made with bslib would look like. Here's a dashboard. Same dashboard with bslib, just a little bit different. I've got some value boxes on the top. I've got these cool plots that expand, and so I can kind of like look through the temperature. I can see the cloud cover. I was able to like move things around enough that I could get in like an hourly forecast. I have a little button that can switch us into Celsius, and because this is built on bslib, I could even change the theme to something fun like simplex, and everything will kind of just still work and look pretty good. That's a fun one. And here, I'll show you this. We get a little dark mode. Okay. That said, if I were to go back to my original question, I'm here in the garage, like right now, can I, and yes, this is not a Jeep, but it's close enough. Okay. Can I take the top off right now? Right. So imagine I'm here. I have like 5 seconds to do this, to make a decision. I pull out my phone and I open an app and it tells me no. So this is pretty far in the other spectrum of just answer the question. Can I pop the top off the Jeep? And the answer is no. But there's definitely a spectrum here. There's a range in terms of what we can do. Maybe it would be helpful for me to say why, like there's bad weather in the forecast. Maybe it would be helpful for me to add the actual forecast that I could see and look at. And now at this point, this is like enough for me it answers my question. It also points out that answering a question leads to more questions. So your dashboard, and you really want to focus on the questions that people have and answering them quickly, but also recognize that because you have the data, people are going to have follow-up questions. So maybe, like, for example, so this is cool. This is for me here, but what about if I went to Yuma, Arizona, which is the sunniest place on Earth? And apparently the answer is yes, I could pop the top there. Or what if I went to Charlotte, North Carolina, and the answer is, oh, maybe, I don't know. It looks like it might be a little cloudy, but I could look at the temperature and be like, you know what, I'm cool with the little clouds. Okay. The other reason I wanted to show you this app is because this app is also built with bslib. I'm not going to say like this was the easiest app to build. In fact, actually answering people's questions well and making it easy for them to answer their own questions is hard, and it definitely takes a bit more work than just like, hey, here's a dashboard. But this app is still built with bslib. So let's talk to BS. So this kind of brings me to like my favorite part about this talk, which is to say that bslib is the new Shiny dashboard with some caveats. Okay, so first of all, bslib isn't a drop-in replacement for Shiny dashboard. It's more like a philosophical successor to Shiny dashboard. bslib is great for data-driven anything, any kind of app that you're building, not just air quotes dashboards. And it's packed with transferable experiences, which is a way of saying basically the stuff that you learn using bslib is applicable in a lot of other places. Quarto dashboards use bslib components, for example. All sorts of output formats of R Markdown and Package Down and Shiny for Python all kind of speak the same language. And bslib works inside of that rather than being something that is sort of just a cul-de-sac of ideas and concepts. So the time you spend learning bslib is useful across a lot of different areas in your Shiny life. So with the last 5 minutes, I'm going to give you a quick tour of some of the cool features that actually showed up from bslib in those little examples that I've made. First, to get started, you're going to need to install bslib. And this isn't a typo. When you install Shiny, when you do install that package as Shiny, you actually get bslib. But maybe you haven't done this in a while, so you might want to make sure you have both Shiny and bslib up to date. The basic idea with bslib is to take your regular looking Shiny app, you add library bslib, and the fastest way to get into the bslib world is to change the page function. From here, I just went from fluid page to page fluid. The functions in bslib are snake cased, and so they fit in nicely with Shiny for Python, for example. And then you go from an app that looks like old Shiny to an app that looks like new Shiny. So about that page function, we have a couple different options. The dashboard, the bslib dashboard that I showed you is made with page sidebar, which has a sidebar and a main content area. If you want to have different pages within your dashboard, you can use page nav bar, and you can have like a nav at the top of your page. This also takes a sidebar, so you can kind of combine page sidebar and page nav bar together. And then we also have a new page function called page fillable, which is the page function I used for the mobile version, where the stuff on the page fills up to take the full space of that's available to you. Okay, so a real quick overview of some of the other things. Here's a value box. There's lots and lots of options for the value box. These were both made with value box, the value box function. And I got that little expandable card feature by using full screen equals true. Instead of talking through all of the different options, you can actually go to an app that we made with bslib for exploring the different value box options. It's called the Build a Box. Here you can try all the different settings and preferences for value boxes and try them out and see which ones you like. And you can copy the code that this creates and drop it right into your app. So this is bslib.shinyapps.io/buildabox. And the link is in the bslib documentation. Once you have a value box, you might want to lay them out into columns or rows, of value boxes. And instead of fluid row, fluid col, or row and column, now we have layout columns and layout column wrap. The basic idea here is it takes some stuff and it puts them into columns. They work slightly differently. And I'll just say you should go check out the documentation to figure out the like very nuanced differences, but they're also both designed to just take things and put them into a row and lay them out nicely for you. So in this case, you could give it 3 value boxes and you get 3 columns with those 3 value boxes. We saw some accordions where these are like collapsible panels, and you create these by using the accordion function, and then you give the accordion function accordion panels, and then each accordion panel becomes a section that can be opened or closed. We saw tooltips, where you give a tooltip a trigger element, which is when the user hovers their mouse over the trigger element, the tooltip will show up. And then the rest of the stuff that's in the tooltip function becomes the things that are shown in the tooltip. And for something more persistent, where you actually have to click on an element like a button or an icon, you can use a popover. And the popover is a great place to store hidden inputs or things that you want to kind of make available to people. But you don't want it to kind of clutter up your UI. And these work pretty well in cards too. This also gives me a chance to point out input switch, which is inside of this popover. Input switch is a nice way to have like a toggle, so you could toggle title or reason or forecast on or off quickly. And then finally, I have input task button. Input task button pairs nicely with Shiny's extended task, which Joe Chang talked about earlier today. At the same time, that it actually just works. You don't even need to use extended task. It works without it, and you can use input task button as a drop-in replacement for action button. The really cool part about this is when you click that button and you start off some computation, you'll get a nice spinner, and it will prevent users from double clicking or triple or quadruple clicking your button while they're waiting for the thing to happen. Oh, there is one more, dark mode. This is my absolute favorite. Just throw input dark mode anywhere on your page and you get this little dark mode toggle. And if you want to get the value, the state of the color mode back in your server and react to it, you can give input dark mode an ID, and then you can read whether you're in dark or light mode. There's a whole lot more that bslib can do, and there's a lot of nuance in putting it together and everything. So I urge you to go check out rstudio.github.io/bslib for more information. There's some really nice things in here. And thank you so much for having me. You can find me online, garrettgadenbowie.com. My slides are online, which can also get you to the apps that I showed. You can find me at Fosstodon or on the Shiny Discord, where we chat in real time with anyone who would like to talk to us at pos.it/shinydiscord. Thank you very much for having me.
Great. Thank you, Garrett. Well, we're running a bit low on time, but maybe just one question. If you were trying to convince the Shiny dashboard sort of diehards out there to switch over to bslib, what's one feature that you would highlight in bslib to try and persuade them?
Yeah. One feature. Okay, so the one feature is there's a thing that happens with boxes and value boxes in Shiny Dashboard where you get these ragged edges. You kind of have like a row with these ragged edges of boxes. That's always kind of bugged me. And if you use layout columns in value box or card from bslib, that just doesn't happen. So that would be my first.
Just one more question, so then we're definitely running out of time. But is there support for Python Shiny?
So what's interesting is that in the R side, you get these things from bslib by using Shiny and bslib together. On the Python side, you just use Shiny, and all of these components are basically, or most of these components at least, are built into Shiny for Python. So because Shiny for Python is newer, and also because of how Python dependencies and versioning works, you can just use Shiny. Shiny for Python just comes with all the stuff that's in bslib. So it's actually a little bit harder on the R side because you have to remember to do library Shiny, library bslib, and that's why I recommend everybody update their snippets to include bslib.
Brilliant. Lovely. Well, thank you very much for speaking to us today. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you.